Hey, from the studios of Grand Forks' best source, it's Dirty Thursday, brought to you by the River City Speedway. Hosted by the Bullring Boyz, who one half of the Bullring Boyz, Chad Hoff, isn't here today. Another procedure or something going on with Chad. We tried calling Amanda Jo. She was busy today, and I tried calling Steven. He was still in a coma, so we'll see. At least he talks to me this time. But again, your show brought to you by the River City Speedway at Northwest Tire. You know, Northwest Tire in Grand Forks, they need to hire a tire technician. Now, if you're not afraid to show up for work on time and work while you're there after you get there on time, might be a great job for you. No prior work experience is necessary. Northwest Tire, they'll train the right people, too. You get great benefits, PTO, health insurance, 401k, and all that good stuff. Pay will depend on experience. Stop in at Northwest Tire on Gateway Drive if you want to find out more. Or you can call Chad, 701-780-8473, or apply online at nwtire.com. Well, if you have any questions or comments for our guest today, Wissota Street Stock driver Tucker Pederson and Minn Kota Lightning Sprint driver Kelsi Pederson, give us a call or text 701-213-0863. Again, that number 701-213-0863. Well, before we get too much further into the show, you know what time it is. It's time for Jokes My Neighbor Tells Me. Here we go. Jokes My Neighbor Tells Me. All right, imagine a NASCAR fan, all right? Now, the image that comes to mind is probably that of a brutish, beer-guzzling, loudmouth, hairy, unwashed, unshaven redneck and her husband. Huh?
That was a lot. Oh, now you can hear me. That was a lot.
Yeah, maybe if I turn your mic on. Before we get to our guests, Tucker and Kelsi, a couple of things we need to talk about. First, I want to mention this Cheer Tech fundraiser is going on until 7 o'clock today at 4950 10th Avenue South. It's north of L&M Wind Power in the Industrial Park. There are tons of door prizes. And a cool thing about this fundraiser, you buy a cup of lemonade, and you'll be eligible to win a $700 gift basket. Now, this one girl alone has raised over $2,000. Help her raise some more. Cheer Tech fundraiser, 4950 10th Avenue South. And that is going on until, 7 o'clock tonight. Quickly, we're going to go over some schedules here. First off, tonight, Norman County Raceway in Ada. Wissota Modifieds, got the Race of Champions, plus late models and weekly classes. Tomorrow night at River City Speedway, big night. Steffa Street Stock Tour. There's been money added. In fact, if you want to start from row 9, you could win almost $3,000. Also have the Rebel Midwest Mod Tour. The light models are going to be there. The Lightning Sprints, I believe, are going to be there too now. By the way, that Rebel Midwest Mod Tour, $1,500 to win that one. Be a lot of great street stock and mod cars and drivers here tomorrow night at the Bullring. Saturday, Greenbush Race Park, the INEX Legends cars, the mods, the Pure Stocks, Lightning Sprints, the 4-cylinders. Devil's Lake Speedway on Saturday, Steffa Street Stock Tour and the Rebel Midwest Mod Tour, plus Pure Stocks. And to wrap up your weekend Sunday at the Buffalo River Speedway, the IMCA Hobby Stocks, Sport Mods, Modifieds, the INEX Legends, and the Minn Kota Lightning Sprints. There you go. Pick a racetrack. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. It's going to be a hot one, but go check it out, your favorite racetrack, all right? Also, the Bullring Boyz shirts are still available at Lori's Pit Stop Shirt Shack at the River City Speedway. They are cool shirts, and all the proceeds for these shirts, they go to the Racer Fund. The Bullring Boyz don't keep any of that money. Also, I've still got FKA raffle tickets here for sale. If you're looking for one, find me. I'll have them at the racetrack tomorrow night. $10 prize. You could win $1,000. You could win $500, $100, or $250. But find them. Forks Karting Association. They're going to be doing the drawing July 7th live right here on Grand Forks' best source. And also, I'm going to give a shout out to the River City Speedway Fire and Rescue Crew. I know they've got their shirts for sale too. Check out the shirt shack there at the Bullring right outside of the Buffalo Rivers Beer Garden. And all your favorite racers' apparel is also there along with River City Speedway stuff. A lot of cool stuff. All right, here we go. Finally, I got my stuff done. Let's start at the left. Kelsi Pederson, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're the only one that hasn't been on here yet.
Yep.
Had your dad, had your brother, had your mom.
Yep. I think my mom was the star of it, though.
She rocked it. Yeah. She really did. How have you been?
I've been good.
Good. I don't see you as much anymore. I see you around the track once in a while and things, but you are no longer living in East Grand Forks. You're in Fargo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And why are you in Fargo?
I was originally going to school at NDSU, and then I just got a job there that I really liked, and now I'm going to school online at UND, so I can kind of live anywhere I want, and I just decided to stay there.
What's your major?
I'm going for psychology.
Oh.
Yep. So
Race car driver going for psychology, huh?
Yeah, a long road ahead of me on
that way you can find out what's wrong with you?
I mean, maybe it'd be a benefit of it.
Yeah. Going across from me, Tucker. How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Good. Now, what are you doing?
Well, I just graduated.
Well, that's what I mean.
And planning on going for physical therapy next year.
Oh, okay. You're going to go to UND or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still kind of undecided on if I want to do some generals at Northland first or just for the cheaper route of things.
Sure.
I'm still undecided on that, but either way, I'll end up at UND for physical therapy.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. I used to know almost every physical therapist name in this town by first name basis. I was in a really bad accident back in the 80s. I basically had to learn how to walk again. And if it wasn't for I had to go 6 days a week for 7 months to physical therapy. And if it wasn't for those guys making me scream and cry and hurt, and I probably wouldn't be walking today. You got your work cut out for you, and congratulations, both of you guys, picking some really, really good fields. Let's see here. You've been kind of on a roll, having a good season so far. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, really, I don't know. It's been a really good season so far. I mean, it really represents all the hours we put in this winter, me, my dad, and my grandpa just in the shop, and even, Kelsi too. We switched up a lot of stuff this year with suspension and just handling wise, and we got a new engine after finding out we were a little underpowered last year, and I think just all that's really starting to come together, and it's just going really well so far.
So how many races have you ran this year?
Only 2. Or no, 3.
3
races.
So you're 2 for 3?
Yeah, 2 for 3.
And what about the third race? How'd you do there?
That was the first race of the season up in Greenbush for me, and because I took that first weekend off for grad parties and just all that stuff. But I think I got third or fourth that night.
So 2 firsts and a third or fourth out of 3 races, not too bad.
No, it's definitely been a lot better start than it has been most other years. Usually it gets kind of picks up the second half of the season, and this year we've kind of come out with a boom, so I guess that's really good.
I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. I know you were struggling a bit. You guys brought the car over to Dustin, and I know we put it on the scale and did a little finagling for you, and you came out and you kicked everybody's ass that night. And that kind of turned things around for you a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I know my dad had gotten just been talking, everyone and anyone he could just for some ideas on what to do, because I was also just, an inexperienced driver, still working on building my skills, but just trying to figure out something to fit my driving style maybe a little bit better, just setup wise, and to try to be more consistent. And, he had talked to everybody about anything he could to just figure it out. And then he went to Dustin and with just some notes that we had gotten from people, and Dustin made it happen. So,
that's the nice thing about racing. Unless you're a complete a-hole, guys will help you out.
Yeah.
You can ask them questions, and they might not help you out as much anymore because you're beating them now. But that is the cool thing about racing. And every guest we have on here on a Thursday, they all say it's like a family.
Yeah.
And it really is. And when you can ask your competition for help and hints, and they give it to you, that tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, like I've always called it a home away from home. You just have like all of your friends at the track. It really is a family, because at the end of the day, all we want is obviously for ourselves to be successful, but also the people that we love and we hang around too.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You don't want to see anybody fail.
Exactly. And that, you see someone struggling and they come up and ask you for help. I mean, no one, I don't think anybody ever expects you to give them every single thing that you're doing on your car. But, I mean, just, some tips and stuff to try and make it better, it goes a really long way.
Yeah, you want all your friends to at least get second, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's a good way to put it. Let's see here. Oh, we got a lot of people watching. Your mom's watching, if you guys want to say hi.
Hi, Mom.
And Zane's watching. You're, Kelsi, not having too shabby of a year yet either, are you?
No, I mean, very similar to last year. A lot of ups and downs already here. We've only raced like 3-4 times, but 2 weeks ago, we got the win at Buffalo River on Sunday, and then last Sunday, we ended up blowing a clutch and not finishing the feature. So, I mean, highs and lows are racing, but overall, we've been running up front, and it's been a good start to the year.
I noticed you guys threw some pink on the cars now. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so last year, our mom was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. We had quite a bit of pink on the cars last year, too, but this year we decided to keep it, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon.
Mom doing good?
She is, yeah. Yep.
Awesome. I can't wait to see her again.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of questions coming in. Stevenator, I miss the Bullring Boyz. I do too, Steven. Josh Parker, what's up, Tucker? How are you guys today? Amanda Joe, about time Kelsi was on the show. We have been trying, Kelsi. Stevenator also wanted to, he emailed us a
Facebook question.
Okay, he had a Facebook question he wanted to ask when we got here. How much do you like the Stevenator taking pics everywhere?
It's awesome.
He's
it's
a
awesome.
good guy.
The more photographers we have, the better.
Absolutely. Your thoughts?
I totally agree.
Yeah. And he's a pretty good go-kart racer, too.
I've heard.
Now, I want to ask you each this question. It's kind of obvious to a lot of people that have been around this business for a while, but how did you get your start in racing?
For both of us, I'll let him share his story too, but we got our start in go-karts. And I like telling the story the way it is my dad asked Tucker if he wanted to get into go-karts, and Brad saying, he owned it at the time. He had a go-kart for sale. And so I was just tagging along. I was like, yeah, I'll go watch him try it out. And then we got there, and he was really young at the time, probably 5 or 6 or something. And he decided it was too loud, so he was a little scared. And then I just went up to Dad right before we were about to leave, and I was like, well, I'll try it. And he just kind of looked at me like, okay. So we went to the go-kart track, and by the end of the day, he ended up buying 2 of them. So.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So is your story going to be similar to Kelsi's?
She pretty much hit it on the spot.
And that's not a bad thing, because I do know this has happened to numerous kids that are racing and have gone on to sprints and other cars, but it scares them at first.
Yeah.
The noise and all of that stuff.
I know. I started, I was 6 and she would have been 8. And I know when we went there, Dad wasn't even, I don't even think he had any intention of Kelsi hopping in a cart that day. I just don't think he thought of it. And but for some reason, she ended up tagging along. I don't really know. I don't know what the story was with that. But I don't know. We got there and I was chickened out, and she hopped in it, and then of course I had to. I couldn't let her show me.
Oh, sure. Now, did you guys race against each other when you first started? With you being a couple years older, did you race against each other, or were you already in a different class?
For the first year, I was in the class above, like what would be rookie gas. I think it still is the same now. But then there was 1 year when we raced against each other. I think that probably was in rookie gas too, and it was 1 year and that was it.
It was not a good year for us.
Oh, it wasn't. Okay, you knew my next question was going to be, who did better between you two?
Honestly, I don't remember. I just remember that it was constant, we're so competitive. It was just fighting all the time.
It got to a point where it was just us two hitting each other on the track. There was nobody else no matter where we were in the field, I was either nudging her bumper, or it was her coming at mine. It was one or the other. So
I called a race a few years back at a racetrack. I won't name the track, but there was 2 of the legends, the INX legend cars out there, and they were brothers. Just 2 of them. They wrecked each other in the heat race. And then they wrecked each other in the feature. Yeah. It's like, come on, there's only 2 of you there. But I tell you what, Forks Karting Association, go-karts, it's the way to go. For your kids now, they've actually got caged cars that are starting to run. I was going to try to get there last night, and I couldn't make it. But how important is it to get a start like that small in the go-karts? Because, let's face it, there's guys my age that are still racing karts, maybe even older than me, but they stay with it because they have so much fun, but you learn so much. How important was that in the process of developing you guys as a race car driver?
I think for lightning sprints especially, I don't know about street stocks really. He can explain that better, but lightning sprints and go-karts are similar in a lot of ways, especially in the fact that you need to drive them straight. And the thing that's different, however, you can pick up bad habits in go-karts with bump and run, that kind of stuff. Can't do that in a lightning sprint.
Right.
But yeah, overall, keeping the cart straight, you get used to speed when you're younger, so then you get into a bigger car, and it doesn't feel like quite a shock. You're kind of used to throttle control, things like that, so I think it helps a lot.
When you first got into a lightning sprint, what were your thoughts? Did it scare the bejesus out of you, or wasn't it that bad?
It didn't necessarily scare me, but I think I had higher expectations for myself than what happened that first year, because I mean, part of it was the car. The other part was that I just didn't really know what to expect. Like I had friends who had moved up to Lightning Sprints the year before and stuff like that, and they all did well. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll go out and do the same thing, and that's just not quite how it went. So
when you're competitive, for example, going from go-karts to Lightning Sprints, right away, if you're a race car driver, you're thinking, it's be a piece of cake. I'm going to go and I'm going to own this thing. But there's a learning curve with every step you take, isn't there?
There definitely is. And the thing about Lightning Sprints is a lot of people look at it as like a stepping stone to like a 410 or whatever else. But it's really, I don't really think it is. Like it's a legit class in itself. Like if you look at lap times and speed and things like that, a lot of times we're the fastest car at the tracks. And people don't realize it just because it's smaller or whatever else. But like, it's a real deal. See,
I love the Lightning Sprints because I love open wheel racing. I love all forms of dirt track racing. But what I like about the Lightning Sprints is if you wad up a bunch of cars, it's not a half-hour delay. It takes a couple of guys to flip over a car again, and a lot of the times you can start them up on your own. You don't have to get the push trucks out there and all that stuff. And they are fast. I mean, I know numerous times when they're hot lapping, and your speeds are similar to the late models.
Yep.
And I mean, that tells you something.
Yeah, it does. I mean, a lot of it plays into track condition too. I know at River Cities, like there was one night that we were the fastest class of the night. We were faster than 410s, late models, everything. But of course, we ran earlier in the night, so there's more traction. Things like that play into it. But yeah, it's fast, and people don't necessarily realize how fast it really is.
I'm going to ask you the same question here in a minute, Tucker, but I want to answer a couple of texts here first. Let's see here. Stephen Ader, he's 2 for 2 this year. Way to go, man. Robin Matson Anderson. Hi, Pederson's. Watching them going from go-karts to the big track over the years has been great to see. They became such fine young adults. Love the whole family. They are for sure the true racing family out there. Gotta love that. Stephen Ader wants to get up here and run on the dirt. Kaylee says, Kaylee Elizabeth, great family. We bought their karting equipment when they moved up to the big track. They're always been willing to help us out when we have had questions. Yeah. And what you said is, Kaylee says, that's exactly what Joey told Kenna. It ain't like a flat cart. She'll be rolling her Lightning Sprint if she bumps. And yeah, that's just, there's no really bump and running there.
No.
Tucker, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Kelsi. What was it like going from go-karts to a street stock? I mean, that's a big jump too, because you're in a full-size car.
Yeah, it was definitely, I don't think that my transition was nearly as smooth as Kelsi's was. And, I think mostly part of that, and I've said this before with the streets, it's because they don't allow for that quick steer, whatever. So it's, to steer, it's like 2.5 turns lock to lock or whatever. Versus just the little, just a little bit of the steering wheel turn in the go-karts. That was probably by far the worst thing for me in the streets, and trying to learn how to carry, a 3,200 pound car around versus just our tiny little go-kart. It's just, it's a lot different. But at the same time, go-karts, especially at starting such a young age, I think it developed just like the skills, just that, just the basics that you need to, before hopping in a big car. I think that helped because, like, especially with Kelsi, you hear like the notorious chop or something like that. Like you're, in open wheel cars, you can't just turn in front of, you can't connect wheels or you're rolling.
Right.
For her, just learning that, because in go-karts it happened all the time. There's going to be cars going up high and they just chop you off going right in the corner. Well, for her, I seriously think that one of the reasons why I think she's one of the best ones at avoiding that is because of that. Just that instinct that you got from
learned in
go-karts.
karts.
Exactly, because it's just, it just carried through really well for her. And with me, I think that, honestly, just avoiding accidents and stuff like that, I think that helped a lot, because just that kind of, it's not the exact same, but just knowing what to just do with the car to try get it seems like with me, it's always right into the right rear tire. People are spinning out, and then it's always just, destroys the whole rear end. Just learning, I can't even describe what you do to avoid that, but sometimes, it just happens where you can sneak out of those situations.
Now, if we rewind back to your first year, and I'll ask you this too, did you look at it as, I'm going to make this year, or I'm going to make this night, whatever, I'm just don't want to wreck my equipment. I don't want to wreck my car. Defensive until you learned. Is that basically how the first year went?
Well, that's all my dad ever told me was, don't get a big head, because obviously I was heavily inexperienced, and I was one of the youngest, 12 years old in the street car. if I could go back, like from now and tell my dad, I would tell him never do that, because that's not a very smart decision putting a kid that young in there. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, that first year, it was definitely a tough one for me. And like that first night, I ended up starting pole in the heat race. And, you know, usually when you're a beginner, you just kind of tag the back and you learn. Well, my dad's just like, well, you start pole, you want to give it a shot. And of course, you know, me just being all giddy and excited, I'm just like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I think I led like the first 6 laps, and then I looped it or something.
Yeah.
But that was just like the biggest disappointment, because I'm like, oh, I was so close, you know. But that whole first race kind of reflects how the whole year went for me. It was a lot of just learning, you know, hoping that we would do well, but there's still a lot of learning with it.
So do you ever introduce yourself as, hi, I'm Tucker Pederson, the youngest driver ever to race at River City Speedway?
No, I have not done that.
Think about that.
Something to think about for sure, but no, I haven't. I usually don't have that big of a head regarding that, because it's just
kind of runs in the family, I think.
It just happened. You know, it's not like any one of these years have been outstanding, you know, just dominating. I don't know. I find it better just to be humble and
sure.
I don't know. It's just more fun that way.
Absolutely. And your first year, how well do you remember that? What were your thoughts? Were you scared to death?
I think you should describe your first ever race in the Lightning Sprint.
So kind of the opposite of Tucker's, but my first actual race was in Greenbush, and I don't remember where I started. I think I started in the back, but I won the first heat race by default, okay? So
by default?
Yeah, like, I don't know say there was 7 cars or whatever, 2 finished. It was me and Brendan Mullen, I think, finished, and we were both brand new.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, you know, confidence. And after that, half the season I didn't even finish the races. It was just mechanical issues, and, you know, Dad was new to it too. He didn't know much about lightning sprints. He's great with cars, but it was a whole different thing for him too. So, yeah.
I want to answer a couple of more texts here, man. The phone's going crazy. Jason Berg says, the Pederson family is a great family. I purchased Kelsi's car for my first car. I'm very appreciative to consider the family as a friend, especially these 2 fine kids. And, of course, Mom, Julie's Special K-Bars. Got to love those. Let's see. Janice. So very proud of these 2 and the entire Pederson racing family. I'm a bit biased, but they all rock. Janice Hillebrand?
Yep, that's our aunt.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yes, so she's a little biased. Okay, well, that's okay. Let's see. I love the race. I love they race as a family and support each other so strongly. Ask Tucker about the scare I gave him during the officials race. That's coming from Jason Berg.
Yeah, I remember that now. That was the whole reason I didn't even want the next year. Kelsi tried to hop in. I didn't even want her to get in the car.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun, you can tell the story.
Yeah, in Greenbush, I don't remember how that went, but he had hopped in my car. They have like this officials race, or, you know, like kind of a pit guy, whatever. At the end of the year, they just if you want someone to hop in your car, they can all do it. And he hopped in there, and, you know, it really went really well for a few laps. And I don't remember if he completely looped it or just half looped it, but he never got hit, never hit anyone. So that was all good. But yeah, I remember that. And then I think it was the next year, a couple years later, she hops in it, and the one thing I tell her, just stay away from everyone else, because you know they're all just as inexperienced out there too, right? And I'm like, even if you don't do anything wrong, you know, it's just, you know, stuff happens, right?
Sure.
So just stay away. Just, you know, go out there if you want to cruise around, whatever. I don't care. And what's the one thing she does? She starts way back. You know, she gained on him, so she was, you know, going faster, right? And going into turn 1, a car just pushed straight into the left rear and wrecked the whole rear end in the car. And that's why I've had people ask me, like, in years following that, if they can hop in, and I just, you know, I can't stop to think about that. Yeah. I'm just like, I really don't know.
And, you know, that's my deal, too. I have had the opportunity to hot lap many different types of cars, and I don't, because I'm just such a firm believer in Murphy's Law. If something could go wrong, it probably will when I'm in somebody else's car. You know, somebody wrecks in front of me, you get collected in it, or you break apart, and it's just, yeah, it makes me nervous too. And by the way, Jason Berg says, sorry, Tucker. We are going to take a break, just a quick little break here. Dirty Thursday brought to you by River City Speedway. We've got Wissota Street Stock driver Tucker Pederson on the show, along with his sister Kelsi, who drives a Minn Kota Lightning Sprint. Got a lot more questions for him coming up here, but first I want to talk a little bit about Valvoline Instant Oil Change. You know, man, life doesn't ever seem to slow down. It's all got to be done like yesterday. Well, it's the same with an oil change. A lot of people blow it off because they think it's going to take too much time out of their day. But at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, I tell you what, most oil changes are done within about 15 minutes. When they change your oil, they're also going to top off your fluids, check your tires, your battery, your lights, your wipers, your cabin air filter. They get discounts for fleets and the military. And they also do more training and coolant flushes, too, tire rotations and batteries. They can text and email invoices and coupons. And if you mention Grand Forks Best Source when you go in for that oil change, you'll get $10 off your oil change. They're open Monday through Saturday. No appointment needed. Pickup and delivery is available in Grand Forks, too. What a great deal. Valvoline Instant Oil Change for a complete oil change and more. 3325 South 38th Street. You can call them, too. 701-780-8462. Make sure you tell them Grand Forks Best Source sent you. Get that $10 off. And they're looking to hire some part and full-time people for the summer, including high school kids. If you're in high school and you're not afraid to work, you want to make some extra money, go ask them at Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Back with Kelsi and Tucker Pederson with the Pederson Racing Stable. Last year, your dad had some medical issues that, thank goodness, we're all taken care of. But the rumors going around, I'm sure you guys had heard them, Joey might not be able to race. So there was talks that Kelsi was going to jump into late model. There were talks that Tucker was going to jump into late model. Was any of that ever talked about?
You want to respond?
I guess that it wasn't, for a while there, it wasn't necessarily just rumors. I mean, we really didn't know what was going to happen,
Sure.
if he was going to be able to race or not. Not that I don't have a desire to get into a late model, but I think Tucker would have been the one to step into it, or whenever that does happen, more so.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Have you ever thought about moving up? I mean, people would assume the next logical step up for you would be a big sprint car. But you're talking about a huge difference there, and not just the racing, but financially.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about maybe moving up, or are you happy running the Lightning Sprints?
I'm, for right now and probably years to come, I'm really happy with the Lightning Sprints. I don't pay for most of it on my
Sure.
own. Dad takes care of that, but which I'm really thankful for. But
Sure.
yeah, like you said, a 410 it's triple, 4 times as much.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're talking $60,000 for a motor.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets a little spendy.
not saying I wouldn't love to. Like,
Yeah.
if anyone has one, I'll hop in.
Yeah,
But
and one good thing about your dad, he knows how to dig up sponsorship.
Yeah.
So he's good at that.
Yep.
I mean, your dad, I give him so much credit. It doesn't matter what time I drive, because I drive by your guys' house all the time on Highway 2 on my way home, and you'll see the shop lights are on. It doesn't matter what time of the day or night it is. If he's not working, he's working.
Yep.
And he's always doing something. In fact, there's been times we saw the lights on and the garage door open, stop in and say hi. And in fact, your dog jumped in the back seat of my car and messed it all up one night when we stopped by there. But, okay, now I'm going to ask you the same thing. Maybe it's logical. He's the son of Joey Pederson, late model driver. He's been doing well in the street stocks. You thinking about moving up ever in the future?
Maybe in the near future here. There's been some talking just in the next couple of years here about that, and most of that's just because even the financial situation of racing a street stock, assuming you're not
None of it's
for bigger
cheap anymore.
No, none of it's cheap. But the thing is, just the payouts it's not there most of the time. When the tour comes in town and they got these 1,000 to win or more shows, that's great.
Yeah.
But you look at the late models, that's their nightly thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
our 200, 250 to win shows, they're just not covering the bill anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you spend $200 to go to a track on gas
Exactly.
alone just to get there and back, and basically you're hoping to break even.
Mm-hmm. And and the thing is, in years past, it might have been possible if you could win. You know what I mean? But now, just with the gas prices and still admission fees, you got to pay. Dad had said, going to Greenbush one weekend or something, we're down $200.
Yeah,
before we could maybe split even with both of our paychecks together, and now we're just, it's getting really tough to keep at it like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
if you can break even, and it doesn't cost anything out of your pocket once you're, it's all said and done and you're going, if you could break even, that's actually doing pretty dang good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, especially with racing. I mean, racing's no different than any other hobby. It's, fishing or anything else, going to the lake, everything costs money, and, that's expected. But at the same time, when it's to a point where you don't think you can even do it anymore, it's just,
Right,
it's just,
right. And a lot of people are in that boat. I know some of the late model guys took off to head wherever for a 2-day show this weekend. And I know one of them, when they were up in Greenbush last week, you have a motorhome and you're pulling your trailer. and you realize how much it costs just to get to Greenbush and back, they decided, no, we're not going to go down there. It just costs too much money. I want to give a shout out to Mike Dobmeyer watching the show today. I haven't seen Mike since, it's been a while. Looking forward to seeing him. Did you guys, by any chance, do you still watch go-kart racing at all?
I usually try to get there once or twice a year. It's not as often as I'd like to, but just kind of just to revisit, Yeah, it's good to see some of the people you still raced against, and just go talk to them and kind of catch up. That's always been really nice.
And, we have our league fishing on Wednesday nights, so I never get to go except for the John Seitz weekend. I was going to try to go last night because we haven't started fishing yet. We do start next week, but ended up with company and ended up with things happening, and I couldn't do it. I want to ask you guys this. These are some of the questions we ask pretty much everybody that comes on the Dirty Thursday show, brought to you by River City Speedway. Biggest win for you, Kelsi?
Probably, I think it was in 2018 at River City Speedway. Me and Dad won on the same night. And that was, it was history. Nobody else has done that before. So, that's probably the number one night that stands out to me.
And on that night, your dad, he wears his emotions on his shoulder quite a bit, and you could see it in his face. And I've seen it before when you guys have visited Victory Lane, and he's either ready to go on to the next race or can't get out there. And I know it just bothers him not to be able to go there and enjoy that moment with you, but how cool is it when you and your dad both win at the same track on the same night?
Yeah, for me, I raced first, so I didn't know what was happening. I had won, I was on top of the world, but I didn't know how much better it could even get. And then when he won, I don't even remember if I got to run down there or not. I just got out of tech, I was just trying to watch his race.
Yeah.
And then, it was awesome. It doesn't hit you until even a couple days after that.
Sure.
We just did that.
Yeah. After all this work and time and effort and money.
Yeah.
How about you? Biggest win for you?
Well, I can start off by saying the hardest night for me probably would be easier than the biggest win.
Okay.
But, was the night in Greenbush. We almost pulled off what we always used to call as the trifecta, where all three of us could win on one night. Because they had done the 2-in-1 night. I'm just like, crap, I really, I would like to get all three of us in Victory Lane one night, just how big that would be. And, of course, I was the first race out, I think, that night, right?
I think you were the first.
Yeah, so I was the first one out, and I led the whole thing but the last two laps. And I had spun out in turn 3 and 4 in Greenbush.
Yep.
And that was, that was it. I kind of wrecked that for myself. But then both of them go out and win. So then they both won another. That was
exactly a year later, too. I think it was July 27th or something like that.
That was probably the hardest night period for racing with me ever.
Wow.
That was just, that one really stung, but it just gives me encouragement not to choke up again.
Did she ever say to you, come on, man?
Yeah, I think the joke went around for a while, but I think they could tell I had it. I was already mad at myself for it. So
I tell you what, and there'll come a day because, look at all the luck and things involved with just winning on any given night. And to be able to do it as your dad also wins on any given night, the three of you doing it on one night, the first thing I think of is the look on your mother's face.
Oh,
I just couldn't imagine. She'd probably be doing cartwheels. I just couldn't imagine, but how cool would that be?
That would be amazing. It can happen. We're all aware that it can happen, but there's got to be a lot of things that line up for that to be a possibility too.
Jason says it'll cost me almost $300 to get to Greenbush this weekend. Even winning, I will lose $50 at pit fee, and we lost $80. So yeah, you drive all the way over there just to be $80 in the hole.
Yep.
And that's the way racing's going. Well, it's not the racing itself; it's our damn economy. It's our president.
And what's sad is it's not. I didn't mean to just make it sound like Greenbush. It's any track you go to.
Right.
It's really. You go to Devil.
Yeah, we're not picking on Greenbush.
No, and I didn't want to make it sound like that because I love that track. To death. That's probably one of my favorites ever. But still, it's just anywhere you go. It's just I don't know what the only really solution is. Just to mess, just payouts, but still,
sure.
I'm sure the tracks are struggling too. So what do you do? You know what I mean? It's really just a crappy situation all the way around. But
I remember 2 years ago when gas was under $2 a gallon. It used to cost me $5 to mow my lawn. Now it costs me $35 to mow my lawn. I'm getting the vibe from you, Tucker. Greenbush, is that your favorite racetrack?
It's definitely probably where I've been the most successful. I could say that, and most nights, they're definitely the most consistent track conditions for smooth, and they've always got more than one lane of racing. And that's, for the streets, at some tracks for like the first class out, we get the slime, we get the muck. It's just, most nights it's just the bottom half of the racetrack. That's all you get. It's just whoever can.
And you also don't have to deal with the late models, the NOSA sprint cars and all that, because every time those classes go on the track, they do things to the track. Yeah. And then you got to try to fix it for the next class. But I get what you mean. Probably more a little street stock friendly.
Yeah, I guess that would be and there's other tracks like that too. Or it's anywhere you go, but generally just running later in the order, you can't really complain because usually the tracks just has more
character.
Yeah, it has more character besides just wet and just whatever you can do. You know what I mean?
By the way, Jason did straighten that up. Exactly, not Greenbush, just in general. We are racers. We will race no matter what. Love that. Do you have a favorite track?
I think probably River Cities. I have had a lot of success at Buffalo River in Glendon, and I like that track too. But, River Cities is my home track. I've been going there since I was a couple months old. So, yeah, that's probably my favorite.
So, let me see here. No, your win. Okay, I got those mixed up. But what's the biggest crowd you've ever raced in front of? Because I know, like, when we were watching the late models, Brody won the night of the World of Outlaws. You got 6,000 people in the stands. Have you ever won in front of a really big crowd like that?
I can't really think of specifically. There's nights at River Cities where there's thousands of people, and it's just,
Usually the fair weekend's got
fair
more
weekend's
people
pretty
too.
big. Yeah.
Yep. And it sucks. Fair weekend. I'm only going to be there on Friday night. Have you ever been in a bad wreck?
Probably the worst one was my first year. Knock on wood, I rolled one time, but it was literally on a caution. It's kind of it was a really dumb thing. But my first year, I don't specifically remember what happened, but coming out of 4 in Greenbush, somebody got sideways and rolled, and I was going 75 miles an hour and nowhere to go, and it was just like a dead stop. Like, crushed the front end of my car, everything. That was probably the worst.
Did it hurt?
I had a Hans device, so it's kind of your collarbones get a little bit bruising, that kind of stuff. But if I wouldn't have had that, like, you don't know. I felt my head get caught by the thing, so I was like, okay, now I know why we spend so much on safety equipment.
Exactly.
Like, it's worth it. You have to have it.
Yeah, and these cars are safe.
Yeah.
That's a lot of horsepower in a small car that hardly weighs anything.
Yep.
But they do everything they can. Every year the technology gets better.
Yeah, it does. We got... within the last couple years, they've made the rule of wearing a head sock, like a fireproof face mask, basically. Hated it at first, couldn't breathe, it was so hot, but now I'm just like, you know what? If I were to catch on fire or something, I would rather be hot for 10 minutes in a car than on fire. Because,
something can happen. They might not be able to get you out of that car
exactly
in that quick fashion.
Yep.
And if you've ever seen a fire start on a race car, it's usually not a slow progressing thing. It's usually just a boof, and here we go. And then you watch the fire and rescue crew go to work. How about you? You been in any bad wrecks?
I don't really know if I've had any really bad ones. Honestly, probably the worst one I've ever been in wasn't even in the street stock. It was in the go-kart still.
Oh,
I had somehow, I don't know how, there's a video somewhere, but I had somehow gotten backwards into the hay bales, but it was at full speed, and it had popped my shield off my helmet and everything, and they just have the one single shaft coming up to you. I bent the shaft right into my gut.
Oh boy!
So, it was a really hard impact, and the whole back bumper was sandwiched up, and that was probably the worst one I've ever actually been in. Feeling it wise, but otherwise, a bunch of small stuff, but nothing that's really hurt me.
Somebody that comes to mind for me is Zach Umdahl. He got a pretty bad wreck in a go-kart. Messed up his leg pretty good there for a while. So we decided to do something safer. So he goes from go-karts to NOSA Outlaw Sprints because it's actually a safer car. You're surrounded by steel. I got a couple of more texts here. Let's see here. We'll get to that one here in a minute, Amanda Joe. Good morning, John and guests. This is from one of our Canadian listeners, Daryl. Great show. Like to get my grandson in a kart. Maybe one day. Great racing family stories. See you again soon. Take care. The crazy Canadians. I'm glad they're watching the show. Amanda Joe says, what big races are Tucker and Kelsi looking forward to this season? I'll start with you.
I think this year, a big one for us is going to be, they added the Lightning Sprints as a support class at the World of Outlaw Late Model Show.
Oh.
So talk about big crowds. That's probably going to be, that'd be a big one to win, or even just racing in front of that many people. And then we have the shootout in August, I
The
believe it
shootout
is.
is gonna
it's
be
4
fun.
days of racing. We get guys from Missouri, Nebraska, California,
California.
all over the place. And yeah, that'll be a fun weekend.
Yeah, when those guys were up here last year, I ended up being shirtless for a while in the pits because he took the Bullring Boyz shirt right off my back and took it back to California with him. Wait, the one really thing I like about that shootout stuff is, and you'll find this out maybe when you're old enough, the moonshine that Jason Berg has is pretty good. It's like a bubblegum moonshine, and you should, Brandon says, I think Austin Hunter should be on next week. If we can make it work, man. If you can make it work, let's do it. How about you?
Well, every year we look forward to the sites. That's probably one of the biggest races for our family, at least for me and my dad. You know what I mean? It's just that whole weekend has just got a different environment.
Oh, it sure does.
And that's just always really big. And I think we're hoping to get to the Stampede this year, hopefully, and do some of those kind of out-of-town races.
Race till 4 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, exactly. But, that's the perfect way to end the year off. You know what I mean? Get as much as you can of it, and then by the time you're done with that weekend, you're kind of ready for a winter break.
Exactly. And as an announcer, I hear you there. But one thing nice about these 2 to 3 day races, the Stampede, the John Sites and all that, it's kind of nice. I don't know. Do you guys haul everything back to the shop every night, or you just stay in the pits? I suppose it depends on if you've got some major work to do.
Yeah, it all depends. I know last year, I don't know if it was at the sites, but it was mid-race. After the heat, I had broken a left rear shock on the car. Well, we didn't have a welder at the track. We hauled out right before intermission. We hauled out, and Dad went and raced, and I think he actually got in an accident too out there. So he had just everyone who could, they'd come in. They were working on his car. He came back and helped us weld that rear shock mount back on, and then we all got back to the track before the feature. So it's stuff like that. It's just like it's really unpredictable. But when it comes to those big shows like that, you can't not.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to give it full effort if you can.
Yeah. Do you carry a welder with you now?
We actually don't. But that was like one of the rare. Last year we ended up breaking 2 lower shock bolt mounts. Just in different, getting hit in the rear end and stuff, just unlucky stuff.
Yeah.
So when stuff like that happens, it's not very common, but maybe we should start carrying a welder. I don't know.
Isn't that weird though, how just the dumbest thing could go wrong? I know I talked to Mark Dobmeyer, and I asked him what happened last weekend because he was running really well down south and had a great start in that feature. And I'm like, rear end? He goes, no, we broke a drive shaft. Because rear ends go on sprint cars. Drive shafts, that's a pretty rare thing. But it never fails whenever you're at a big race. It seems like something like that happens. I do want to ask you guys this, because you're both so young. I mean, you just graduating, you in college. Your future plans? I mean, does Kelsi Pederson want to keep racing? Does Kelsi Pederson want to settle down, get married, have kids, turn into be all domesticated and all that kind of stuff?
I'm pretty far from that.
So if you could see yourself in 10 years from now, what do you think you'd be doing?
Like I said, I'm going to school for psychology. I would love to get my doctorate in that. That's going to take a lot of time and work. So, I mean, that'd probably put me close to 10 years out by the time I get done with all that stuff. And yeah, my goal is to be like a counselor or therapist of some type. I don't know what the specialty is yet, but I'd be doing that, and then probably just doing what we're doing now, racing on the weekends. I don't necessarily have the desire to try to go bigger. When I was younger, I was like, yeah, World of Outlaws, we're gonna do all that stuff. But as you get older, I think you get more realistic with it. You get to a certain age where you're just like, you know what, I'm content racing 2-3 days a week and in the summer, and
Sure. And how about you? What do you see yourself doing 10 years from now?
Well, ideally going for physical therapy, and that's 6 years of school, because you have to get your doctorate in that too. So that's a lot of schooling for that as well. But, I would really like to keep racing as long as I can. And, it all kind of comes down to money too, because we can't rely on Dad funding the bill for the rest of our lives. But
yeah, you got to give him a break one of these years, guys.
But, through college, ideally I would love to keep racing, but we'll just have to kind of take it a year at a time. And, ideally, as long as I can, I'll want to keep going.
Does your dad ever sleep?
Not as much as he should.
Yeah.
Some weeks, but
Some weeks he gets an extra 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
A couple of more texts here. Kaylee Elizabeth says, what was it like entering the Lightning Sprints as a young female racing against a group of mostly older guys? Good question.
It's a question that I've gotten asked a lot over the years too. And for me, I'd say the first couple of years, I definitely got attention for being a girl in a male-dominated sport, all that stuff. But as time went on, you don't really feel that way anymore. You're a driver.
Just a racer.
That's what you are. Yeah. And so, I mean, you got to think of it that way yourself too. You put the helmet on and you're the same as everybody else you're racing against.
Well, we got the Steffes Street Stock Tour going to be here at the Bullring tomorrow night, and we have a question from Mark. Good luck Friday night, Tucker. You're as good as any of those travelers coming tomorrow. Greg says, I'd love to see either one of them in a sprint. I'm a big fan of the Pederson race team. Your dad laid the foundation for the Pederson race team. Everybody's known Joey as being not only a great race car driver, but a great guy, and it kind of is trickling downhill. It's kind of cool when people text and say the nice things about you that they do, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Dad's definitely the brains of the operation still, but we're getting there. And I mean, just taking all the knowledge from not only a mechanical standpoint from him, but like social media, keeping sponsors happy, like showing appreciation for fans, sponsors, family, and all that. I mean, it's all important.
Yeah, how to do it the right way.
Yeah, yep.
Do you think your old man's ever going to retire from racing?
I don't think he's ever going to want to, but you know, he always told us, especially with all this heart stuff happening, when he had that surgery the last couple of years, he had said, once he feels he's not competitive anymore, that's when he's ready to hang up,
And I can't see that happening anytime soon.
And the thing is, you can have your off weeks, off months, off years, but in reality, he's up front just as much as anyone else.
Oh, absolutely.
Weekend. And I don't see that going away. Really, the only thing that I feel holds him back is still just that heart thing. He still has that coughing up blood issue, and on fast tracks, you can't control it. You know what I mean? When that happens, you have to either back off or pull off.
Sure.
So if you see that, that's why why it is.
I mean, you got Tommy Corcoran still winning after how many decades, and he's still always up there running in the top 5 or so, as long as you're competitive. Now, I know your dad had told you guys this. We know who helps on your cars. It's pretty much a family deal. But sponsorship, I know he made you take notes. Give a shout out to your sponsors, you guys.
Right. Yeah, Tucker was in charge of this, but we got the North Dakota Eye Clinic on board this year. That's a really cool one. The owner of North Dakota Eye Clinic, his son is actually Tucker's pit crew, part of Tucker's pit crew now. So, yeah, we've got to know them pretty well. We got Olson Underground, Amy Dahlin Photography, Southline Farms, Dahlstrom Motors, Northland Sheds, Sean Horn Realty, Ad Monkeys, R&R Farms, and Energy Release.
Does anybody else help you on your car? Do you have anybody else besides a Pederson that's helping you?
Yeah, I got my cousin Matt, my boyfriend Cole. Really, it's come down to a lot of just family now. I mean, us three in the shop and that kind of stuff. Living in Fargo, I don't get to come home and help work on cars as much as I'd like to, but I'm trying to make more time for it.
We got a text from Todd Truittson, said, oh boy, Todd's watching the show. Fun fact, their grandfather Dean helped me build my first race car.
I didn't even know that. That's cool.
I didn't either, and I've had these guys on the show before. That is really neat. Time for you to give a shout out to whoever helps you on your car and your sponsors.
I'd like to thank Sean Horn Realty, the North Dakota Eye Clinic, Ad Monkeys, Amy Dahlin Photography, Olson Underground, R&R Farms, Southline Farms, and Energy Release. And then, the number of people that help out on that car is really endless. It really is. But, the names that come to mind are, of course, my dad. None of this would be possible without him and his constant urge to make everyone in this family successful. And, with how I had said this winter that, it's all, he drives all of it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But that, my grandpa, we actually put a little sticker on the back of the car this year because, every day in the shop, he was there helping out, helping me and my dad and, just all of us work on anything we needed. So him, my mom, with all the cooking and everything else she does she's known for, she makes the time at the track much more enjoyable.
Oh, sure.
Versus if we didn't have any of that. And Kelsi, of course. I don't think you thanked me, but thank Kelsi.
I tried.
And and my pit guys, Cody Narankus and Eli Shapansky, and my girlfriend Grace. She helped out a lot last weekend too. And just it really isn't possible without any of them.
Anybody tell you you're like talking to a junior Joey? Because I can see it now, sitting down with you. I can imagine this would have been like talking to your dad 30 years ago. Do you ever get that from anybody? Your mannerisms, the way you talk, you're a lot alike.
Yeah, I noticed as time goes on, I'm kind of maturing a little bit, not only, just, physically, but I think I'm kind of turning into a mini Joey.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing to turn into. He's a great guy. Trey has 1-2. Anyway, I don't know what that means. 1-2.
It's just a little victory lane thing we've had in the past. If either one of us finishes, wins it, and the other one gets second, then we'll nose it in victory lane. But
sure.
He didn't follow through on that on Greenbush, so that's on him.
He was slacking or what?
Yeah, he was slacking on that.
Yeah. Well, I know you guys have got a busy weekend. I do want to mention one thing. They're talking 100 degrees Saturday, 100 and I've heard everything from 100 to 107 on Sunday. Does that affect you in the race car? I mean, you talked about, the fireproof stuff. Now you got to wear the head stocking and everything. But how damn hot does it get in those cars?
I couldn't tell you a number, but you're sweating from head to toe. It's so hot. Not only that, the cars run warmer too.
Sure.
So, they're more likely to overheat when it's 100 degrees. Anything over 70, really, depending on your car. But, yeah, it's definitely going to be hot.
And I would imagine it's no different in a street stock.
No.
Probably worse, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say.
In years past, our exhaust, or at least my exhaust system, went right through the dash right in front of me. So all that heat from the engine's also coming straight at you. Now, luckily this year we have some just a different system going on there, so... that helps with that a lot, but it's still, you get back from the race and you're dripping. At least I am.
Do you guys, I don't know if you're superstitious or not, do you have a race day routine that you go through?
We kind of used to. Remember back in go-kart days, every day we'd go get red pepper?
Yeah, we would. On Wednesdays, Dad, he was working different shifts at work, so he'd have Wednesdays off. We'd go to red pepper every afternoon.
But that's not a bad pre-race meal.
Yeah, and that was really good. Maybe we should start doing that again. Leading up to now, it's
maybe
been a
that was
while,
the key.
Well, maybe now you guys are to the age where you can start buying your own red pepper, so Dad doesn't have to take you.
I don't think he'd be funding that anymore.
No.
You guys, it's been a pleasure having you on here. Two of the younger racers that we see around here, and you guys are phenomenal. You come from a great family, and I'm just so glad that we finally nailed all of you guys to be on this show because it's been well deserved. I've been trying to get you on for a long time. You were a hard one to get. You weren't very easy to get on the show either. It was either you were in school or you had a bad knee or you were just something. But to try, my dream was to get all four of you on the show at one time, and we might still be able to make that happen. I'm looking forward to watching you guys here in the rest of the year. Should be seeing both of you tomorrow night at River City Speedway.
Yep.
All three of us, actually.
Or all three of you. So, that's right.
It was our last
well, I'm sure it'll be all four of you that I'll get to see. But again, thank you guys for coming in, and I'll look forward to talking to you guys in the pits tomorrow night, all right?
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Wow, what a great interview. Man, good kids here. Minn Kota Lightning Sprint's driver, Kelsi Pederson, and of course, Wissota Street Stock driver, Tucker Pederson. Show, by the way, today brought to you by Rumors Sports Bar and Casino. I love that place. I tell you what, you want to watch the NBA Finals or the NHL Stanley Cup Finals? Rumors has got wall-to-wall TVs. They're everywhere you look. So have one of those world-famous beer towers, eat some good food because they've got tons of that too, and watch your favorite sporting event. You can do it all at Rumors, who, by the way, is looking to hire part-time servers and cooks. Stop in to find out more. BT, Scotty, Jake, the whole crew over there. We absolutely love them. Rumors Sports Bar and Casino, bringing you a Dirty Thursday, brought to you by River City Speedway. Well, I tell you what, everybody, have a great Thursday. Make sure to catch the Best Forking Sports Arena show tonight at 6:30 with Monty and Bill and the whole rest of the gang. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning at 9, all right? Hey, remember to like, share, tag, and follow us. Hit that notification bell on your smartphone and become a patron on Podbean. You might be able to win some really cool GFBS swag and more, all right? Grand Forks, groovy place. Grand Forks' best source is giving it an identity again.